What
Yeah.
my to deliver a lecture today here, and thank you for invitation. I'm glad that this initiative um, have a support from High School of Economics, and thank you organizers for the school, and I hope that you're enjoying all the lectures and workshops, and I want to invite you for the discussion after the lecture, but not to hear to what we are going to talk to you, but also to discuss maybe some points. So I'm glad to be here today, and I'm waiting for your questions. Maybe it's better after presentation, but if it's very important, you can just raise your hand, and Sasha will provide you with the opportunity to comment or to ask something. So my name is Valeriya Utkina, and I'm working for the Department of Public Administration in National Research University High School of Economics. And my major is public administration, and then I got interest in gender studies. So now I'm doing all my researches connected with gender issues in public administration and public policy and so on. Well, a few words about the topic. Honestly said, it's not my idea to call our lecture Women and Big Politics, because we should clarify some notions. What I want to mention here, that if we speak about politics, it is mostly people that working in some political institutions and political structures. It's parliaments and some other representatives of people. And if we speak about public administration, it's not only about politicians, but also about civil servants and people who providing these services, governmental services, and so on. So mostly I'm interested in civil servants and in public administration, but to make the picture big, to understand everything, we can also talk about women and politics. And let it start. A few words for introduction. If we speak about the global situation, first of all, we should check when in every single country, women became eligible to vote and to be elected. And what is interesting here, if we speak about the world map, we can see here that the first one of the first countries here is Finland. In 1906, it was the first time Finnish women participated in the elections. If we look at the map once again, we see that Russia here is only in 1917, and all of you knows it well that it's about revolution, and everything changed, and the Soviet state was born. But the thing is that in 1906, Finland was a part of a Russian Empire. So it's very tricky if it is Russia or Finland was the first country where women not only vote, but was elected in the parliament. That's it. But if we look at modern situation, we can easily see that Russia is here not in the leaders in the index of women as public sector leaders. It's only 30%. but all of you may be heard, and you know for sure that Russia was one of the first countries where women started to participate fully in public policy and public administration. And even now, we have several ministers in the cabinet, and a head of a federal council is a woman, and so on and so forth. But still, in different gender indexes, we're on the low level. What's wrong with that? And today we're going to discuss the whole situation, how it works, that we have lots of women in public administration, but still the situation is not that good. Also, I want to clarify some critics goes to this kind of discussion when we trying to speak about women in public administration separately or in governance and public policy, and they say, why you do it? We need to have equity and equality, and if you discuss women separately, you discriminate them, and so on and so forth. But all of us, we know that for sure that women are discriminated before these discussions, and starting to discuss women separately and their opportunities, their possibilities, it's a good way to highlight this situation and to help women to be promoted. It helps women empowerment, and why it's important. By the way, it's about half of the population of the earth, and it's clear that women should participate in public administration, and not only like routine workers, but on the decision level as well. And women should be agents of change, and surely they can break stereotypes and expand opportunities for other women development. It's important here because often women participating in a political process, they trying to be developed only by themselves, but they not trying to raise woman question. So how does it feel to be a woman in politics? Well, it's like a quote and reference to Madonna's song, well known, What It Feels Like for a Girl in This World. But what it feels like for a girl in politics, it's not that good. Because starting to participate in politics, you always face some barriers when you want to get to leadership position, and it's called glass ceiling, when some barriers that you cannot see but they exist stop you and cannot help to get decision-making level. And the second part of this situation is glass walls. It's not only about when you get your leadership position. It's the second thing that sometimes it's very hard to stay there, and it's a usual situation when a woman is a head of some bankrupt company or of the some State Department with lots of problems, and it's called glass cliff. So that is, and it was like kind of introductory words about the current situation in a whole. But if we speak about career development, there are some typical difficulties for women while developing their career in public administration and public policy. First of all, it's gender prejudices, and there are lots of things that not help women to be elected in power structures and to be heard. Also, here we also faced some difficulties while entering the profession. I mean that sometimes you need some money, for example, for your campaign. Also, if we speak about public offices, the troubles with the salary gap. What else? In public administration, there is vertical and horizontal discrimination. And I will discuss it later, but in a few words here, for example, you know that there are some male and female ministries. For example, in the Ministry of Education, it's more women working, while in the I don't know, the Department of Police, they pretend to be more male workers. Also, if we speak about women's career, it's always a question of work-life balance, and it's all about a double burden, because still they believe that everything about caring and about household, it's also women work. And it's more about time budgets, how to combine both career development and being a good mother or a good wife. Also, if you want to be successful in your career and in public sphere as well, the question arises what to do with your maternity leave. So for lots of women, it's a dilemma to raise your children or to raise your career. And all the situation is mostly in male dominant sphere, because from ancient times they believe that management it's a male business, and from right now we can feel it in informal practices. For example, in the end of the week, some male representatives of some department decided to go to a restaurant to drink alcohol together, and sometimes they even don't invite their female colleagues, and it would be okay if they just have free time together. But in these informal situations, lots of working decisions can be solved, or some HR solutions, and women mostly stigmatized, like they cannot participate in some informal practices, and they have no chance, for example, to smoke together with male colleagues and so on. And the last but not the least point here is about the end of career, because if you're about 50 years old, it's lots of practices of aging and discrimination on the basis of age. So you are like pre-retirement person, and if you're a woman and pre-retirement as well, it's like you're on the crossroads on several discriminatory positions, and you have no chances, but not that much chances to be promoted. Okay, and let's move to Russian situation. Here I want to mention a few words since we have Soviet heritage, and we cannot discuss, we have no opportunity to discuss modern Russian situation without understanding just in brief, how it worked in the Soviet period. Well, first of all, and all of you know it for sure, that well-known Alexandra Kollontai, she was the first woman minister in the world, and it was not that long, but still the situation changed drastically, because from that time it was not like the empire of Russia, but the women in the government. After Kollontai in the USSR, they pretend that it was gender equality in Soviet Union, but honestly say they were not, because only few women were ministers during that period. It was Ekaterina Furtsova. She's also well known all over the world, and she was responsible for the Soviet culture in 60s. And the second woman, it was Maria Kovrigina. She was Minister of Health, and I don't know, most people even don't know that it was the third one. It was Polina Zhemshugova. Maybe because lots of people know her like Molotov's wife, but still she was not so long, but still she was People's Commissar of the USSR fishing industry. So that is, there are few women during the 70 years of Soviet power. And not a single woman was a member of Politburo. It's very important because it was the highest level of power in the country, and there were no women during the whole period, and only once it was a candidate to participate. It was also pre-level. And if we speak about modern Russia, since 1991, after the Soviet Union break, it were only 10 women in Russian cabinet who were ministers. And the funny fact is that in the cabinets of Mikhail Fratkov, there were no women, only male ministers. And now I want to ask you to participate in my lecture. Maybe you listeners have any idea why there were no women in Mikhail Fratkov's cabinet. You can switch on your microphones and say a few words. What do you think about that? Also, we check if you are here, all that people that in our discussion right now. Hello. Hi, any ideas? So we have, since 1991, only 10 women in Russian cabinet. And during the cabinet of Mikhail Fratkov, there were none. Why that? So
Ella Rosman?
I ask you to moderate. And I see Ella Rosman's hand here.
Yeah, I just wanted to start. The first idea which comes to my mind, of course, that Fradkov didn't want women in his cabinet, that he was kind of, you know, sexist. It's just the first idea which comes to mind, but it will be very interesting to hear other clues.
Okay. Any other ideas? Also, two more participants want to say something.
I mean, I have no clue. Maybe they boycotted him.
Okay, no, you're not right, but it's a good idea. Okay. Any other ideas, please? One more hand was raised.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, probably it was because of the Fredkov's background. I believe he was an intelligence officer, and intelligence officers tend to be, well, yeah, this field is pretty sexist, and if he himself was going to bring anyone familiar in his cabinet, that would probably not be women.
Yeah. True story, because Mikhail Fredkov, yes, he was a prime minister, but before he was the head of Russia's foreign intelligence service. So he is not like Agent 007, because he was not fluent with how to communicate with women. And here we come to the huge problem, because some of the special services are mostly male services. And that means that there is no place for women here. And we know that for now, lots of people in Russian public administration came from FSB, Federal in Russian it's Федеральная служба безопасности. I'm sorry.
Federal Security Service.
Yeah, security. I forgot the words. So it's Federal Service of Security, and it's a way how to make public administration more male than female, and that's why in Fradkov's cabinet there were no women because of his background. So let's move on. So after the Soviet period, in New Russia, there was different organizations that trying to work with the status of women and with different gender issues. First of all, it is State Duma Committee on the Family Affairs, Women and Children, and it works till now. Then it's Commission on Women, Family and Demography and the President of the Russian Federation, and it was locked down in 2000. Also, it's Commission for the Advancement of Women's Status. It was established under the government of the Russian Federation, and also in 2004 it was closed. And you can see that the ends of these organizations in the early 2000s. And from this period, we can watch, as it's calls, conservative backlash in the country when the public policy and the public discourse drastically differs from that was in newborn modern Russia in 90s. And it was fresh air, and everybody feels free to develop their personal career and to discuss gender issues and so on. Also, there are several organizations at the Department of Demographic Policy and Social Security on the basis of Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. And just yesterday, I learned a bad thing that they're going to cut this department on gender issues in the Department of Demographic Policy and Social Security. They have a union that is responsible for the gender issues, and they're going to cut it. Bad news. And I'm wondering who's going to, for example, to prepare some papers for the UN, for some different conventions that Russia still participated in. But the situation is that. And the last one is the Department of Child Medical Service and Obstetrics of the Minister of Health and of the Russian Federation. But mostly it's all about women's health and not about possibility, for example, for abortion or some things that can grant freedom for women's bodies, but just healthcare, nothing special. Well, according to Russian Constitution, Article 19, de jure, we have gender equality, and Russian legislation prohibits gender-based discrimination. However, there is no notion of gender discrimination in the legislation. So it's also only promotes positive measures targeting women, and we have no specific bodies or institutions devoted to promotion women anti-discrimination measures. Well, what's important, after Soviet Union crash, Russia ratified lots of international laws. And it's a CEDAW and Vienna Declaration and UN Declaration of Elimination of Violence Against Women. Also, we participated in Beijing Platform and in 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals for the period till 2030. And after that, we can say that as far as gender equality, the fifth UN goal is concerned, after the Open School of Sustainable Development, it was in Russia in 2017, they prepared a good scheme, and I translated it for you. So we can see here some quantitative information about Russia, and what is bad here, that male are dominant in most spheres here. But what is interesting, that there are 45% of women in the population of Russia. So that can help us to understand that in representative bodies, it should be half and a half, but it doesn't work that way. And also, it's not only about the proportion of men and women in the population of the country, but also it's about harassment, about women that are sexually abused, about unpaid work, and about the income. And you can easily see here that male are dominant. And as for me, as a modern population, as for me, there are lots of things to strive for, to fight for, to discuss, and to develop some education programs and so on and so forth. So if I were not a scientist, but I were somebody else, it was a good possibility for me to say that hey, politicians, why you don't discuss the things in your programs and your public talks and so on? And one more question, where are women who should do that in public politics? And what that's going on in Russia. So, well, I should mention it that there is no gender statistic in Russia, only some separated sources. We have an official agency, it's called the Federal Statistics Agency, and to collect it, this information for you, I did it manually. So I learned this official websites of different regions of our country and so on. And so that is, today we have only one female governor, but I'm sorry, I'm not an aging person, but still, she's 64 years old. So we can understand here, to be a female governor, you should be a wise woman, well experienced and so on. So comparing, for example, with Finland, you know that there in their cabinet of ministers, the average age is about 30 or 35 years old. I'm not sure, but they're pretty younger than our the only female governor. Then it's only 70 women deputy governors, 10 women legislative assembly chairpersons, 23 women deputy chairpersons of the legislative assembly. It's very important because it's also decision-making level. Always some statistics looks at the chairpersons, but they don't pay attention to the deputy chairpersons. But still, all over the country, it's only 23 persons, and for one assembly chairpersons, it's always 1, 2, 3 till 5 deputy chairpersons, and the situation is not good enough because for not even for every single chairperson there are some women deputy. Also, the average age of these people is more than 40 years old, and right now, from the January 2020, it's only 3 women ministers in the government of the Russian Federation. If we look on the map, we can see that the number of women in relation to the total number of deputies in the legislative assemblies of the constituted entities of the Russian Federation in 2019, it's not that good, because if we see light blue, it's 0, and dark blue, it's only 40%. So no more than we even have none that have a 50 and 50. Then, if we look at the map of the country and the distribution of indicators which characterize gender identity of deputy heads of government of the Russian Federation, also last year in 2019, we see that women also not even in a half of subjects of Russian Federation. Well, this map was prepared for you about the distribution of the average age category of women. I mentioned it earlier that it's very important characteristics, and there is no statistics at all, and you can only collect it manual to look through the biography of every single in our situation female deputy head of governments in Russian regions, and you can see that mostly they are more than 50 years old. And now we move to the Council of Federation, is the upper chamber of Russian Parliament, and it includes 30 women senators, but it's only 18% of the upper house of Parliament. What's important here, the head of the Council of Federation since 2011 is Valentina Matviyenko. She is a well-known person, and she was a head of the St. Petersburg region, and she's one of the leaders of the country, which also provides Vladimir Putin's politics. But in a few words, she has a very interesting biography, and she started to be politician from the young period, young period. And she, what is interesting about her, she developed her political career during the end of Soviet period and continued to do it in modern Russia. So she is more than 50 years old, and it is the average age of female senators of the Russian Federation. And also I calculated manually, because there is no information about whole situation, only about single senators. And well, what's interesting here also, that only 30% of our regions have female representatives in the upper chamber. We have 85 subjects of federation, but not of them are represented by female senators in the Council of Federation, and it contradicts the principle of reflecting balance of federal and regional interests in the decision-making process. If we speak about State Duma, it's also the low chamber for Russian Parliament. The situation is not that bad. The 7th State Duma achieved the highest number of women deputies in the country's post-Soviet history. It's about 15% of deputies. And also, we can watch there is no 50% of women in Duma, and only 3 out of 6 deputy chairpersons are women, but still, if we speak about the decision-making on the level of committees, only 5 out of 26 are led by women, and by the way, they're on culture, ecology, housing policy, housing and communal service, on rules and organization of State Duma, and surely on family, women and children. And you can guess that all of this in different ways about caring and about nature of women. So it's not that hard to understand why is that. And if we speak about Russian parties that are represented in the the state Duma. Also, mostly women are in the party of United Russia. Then several people are in Communist Party and just Russian Liberal Democrats. And I have a question to you listeners. What do you think? Why only in United Russia there are lots of women in the party? Any ideas? What do you think? Hello, you can raise your hands. And
Vladimir Belikov.
Yeah,
And
thank you. Okay. Probably in one time during its existence, United Russia assimilated some sort of female-dominated movement, like a specific female party or something like that.
oh no, no, it's a governing party, and it was a good attempt, but not. You're not right. I'm sorry. Any other ideas? Alexandra
Mika?
Vorobyova, please.
there was Mika first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think probably because it's the most. I mean, it's like the biggest party, I think, and maybe they need a lot of, how to say, work, like bureaucracy work, like, and they take women to do this work because it's a typical, I think, for bureaucratic structure, it's typical to give women, like, you know, just paperwork, and which needs, I don't know, they think it needs accuracy and not a lot of
the result. It's not like the reason, it's the result that lots of people in the party and they need some routine work. But what is the root of this situation? Governing party in the hugest country in the world, and there are lots of women there. But on the decision level making, even of the party, and the head of the party is a male person. What's that about? What do you think? Yes, Alexandra Vorobyova.
Yes, so I got an idea. The party, United Russia, got a hierarchy. And on the bottom of this hierarchy is full of women. If you've been yesterday on exit polls, you've seen majority of women. And I think they put an electorate mainly focused on elder generation, and elder generation, mainly women, because men dying earlier in Russia.
Yeah.
And that's why somehow these women get a chance to rise. That's my idea.
Okay, this is partially right, but the answer is quite simple. What are professions of people who are going for Putin's Russia, for the United Russia? Who are they? They're mostly doctors, they're school teachers, and so on and so forth, the nurseries. And who are they? They are from caring industries, and mostly they are women. And also, a few words about Russian electorate. Most people who vote today are women, and if, as you correctly mentioned, it's aging people, and they have also practicing of being involved in a huge party. It was a communist party, and now they want to be involved in something huge, and they pretend that this party will protect them from the cruelty of this world and some social guarantees and blah blah blah. And yesterday you learned who watched TV or some news and social media. So the thing is quite simple, that United Russia is mostly female party, And it also shows us the same situation like in public administration of Russia in a whole. And also the secret here is that you know that governing party always contained huge percentage of people who are working for that power. So all the bureaucrats in our country, all the civil servants, police servants, and so on and so forth, they should be in United Russia Party. And we moved further, and here we change our discussion to the thing is that mostly today in Russian Federation, more than 70% of civil servants are women, and also they're in the United Russia Party. So here I should mention a few words about National Strategy for Women. It was granted like a present for the 8th of March in 2017, but by the Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. And this is kind of a guideline for the country, like a roadmap and kind of a strategy. I use the word kind of because it's not a strategy. It's not in the manner of some roadmap. I don't know. It's not a manual. I don't know what this document. Its character is quite tricky. Why? Because it reproduces traditional ideas about the role of women, like being mother and being wife, and about childbirth and lots of things about women health, but lack of some system in this document and lack of some implementation mechanisms. Also, it's not discussing budgeting. So Valentina Matvienko said that we don't need money for implementation this national strategy for women, but I don't know how it's possible to develop women in our country with lots of gender stereotypes and prejudice without any budgeting, but still. And the last thing here that it was a very good draft of this document, and it was developed by this gender unit of the Minister of Labor. And also they asked some experts to participate in the development of this strategy, and it was quite good. But the final document have not that much in common with the draft that was developed by the expert community. But what here is important, it was the first document in after 2000 years era when the document states the fact of discrimination of women, and they draw attention to this problem. Now I want to share with you just very brief the results of our research work that we made from 2016, and it's all about public administration feminization of Russia. According to the statistics official of 2017, it's more than 70% of women, and most of them are on the lower and the middle positions. So we can see here gender pyramids, when on the highest level are male persons and on the lowest are female, and they do some routine work, and they are not about developing their career. Well, it's also about statistics. So we have 32 semi-structured in-depth interviews with women working in public bodies, and they're all civil servants, and we have some limitations of our research, and it's mostly about young women. So we interviewed only women in the age between 25 and 35 years old, because they are mostly graduated from the public administration department, and you can see that we took 3 top universities of Russia that have a public administration major. It's Vyshka High School of Economics, then it's RANHIX, it's Russian Presidential Academy of National Economy and Public Administration, and it's Moscow State University. And here we can see that in all these 3 universities, female students are more than male, and we can make a small prognosis that female public servants will be during 5 or 10 years prevail on male bureaucrats, but still how it works that on the top level is always men. I want you to watch this beautiful picture. It was from the Lenin epoch, and it's written here that every housewife should learn how to rule the state. That's it. Okay. So according to our research, first of all, it's inheritance mechanisms here, and after it will be some quotes of our respondents, and it's not necessarily to read it right now. I will send you this presentation and you can learn it precisely, but I should mention all these dimensions. First of all, one more time. How do women obtain a job in power structures? Here I should clarify that if we speak about power structures, it's organizations in public administration, it's public bodies, it's some ministries, some agencies, federal agencies, and so on. And the thing is that it is one of the clearest, simplest, but still hardest way to develop career in public policy in Russia. So first you are doing career in public body, and then you you studying, for example, to some campaign for example, being a municipal deputy. So this is a huge decision if you want to be promoted and to work in public bodies. And the first reason is inheritance mechanism. So, for example, a father or a mother or someone else in the family working in public administration. Then some women looking for a profession in the humanitarian field. It's a huge problem in Russian Federation, but because mostly people graduating from high school, they don't know anything about their future profession, and they're going to the field, to the huge field, and they don't know what they want to do after graduating, but they're trying to find a profession near their interests. And Here is public administration. It is in the middle of humanitarian field, and public administration programs in the universities, and they offered some languages, historical and political orientation, and blah blah blah. That's why lots of people may make a decision to enter these programs, and after that, having in their hands this diploma of manager in public administration, they have no opportunity or no enough passion to go into business, and they starting their career in public administration. Also, it's not that popular, but still it exists. It is the desire to be in the middle of action and to influence the situation in the country. It's the best reason as for me, but some of them change their minds during their first years of developing career in public administration. Then sometimes a decision about promotion in public administration is taken by superior man. For example, it's a head of a department, of some parents or something like that. It means that people influence the young girl, young woman, explaining that it's a good work and it's stable work and with good social guarantees. Well, in many cases, several factors influence all together, and we heard it very often that civil service is attractive as a female job. It means that it's a job with the social security. Working in public administration, you're provided with the maternity leave, with social payments, and the security of the position you occupied. But this is the start of the your political career, if you are interested in. So sum it all up. Why women choose public administration? They're looking for a profession in humanitarian field. They desire to be in the middle of action. Sometimes it is decision taken by superior man, and or it is inheritance mechanism, or altogether. And this job is attractive as a female job. This quotation from the member of the apparatus of the State Duma illustrates it very well. What it means by female job in the government. It's stable work with social guarantees. It's the possibility to compare it with the domestic work. It's all about work-life balance. And it's about parental leave. Mostly this is routine work, and it is secretarial positions. And mostly it is about working in female authorities. I mentioned it previously when we discussed horizontal and vertical segregation. Horizontal, it means that sometimes it's male or female bodies. If we speak about Russian public administration, there is horizontal and vertical segregation here. And what is the most important thing I should mention is self-discrimination of women. Or even self-exclusion. They don't want to achieve head positions, and mostly because of work-life balance. Here is a small dialogue that illustrates it perfectly. And when we ask our respondent why, she answered, because I don't want to live in the office, that's why. But still, there are possibilities of career and professional development, and there are some recommendations from me how to help women to be developed in public administration in Russia. It's to include gender agenda in personal policy of public administration. Also, I think that it's a good idea to establish national council or some national agency for equal opportunities for women and men, for gender equality, and to create more flexible working conditions, and to increase the efficiency of social institutes, to create some opportunities for male and female people to receive their equal income, not only in all professions, but in public sector in particular, because if we speak about welfare state, it means that it's not only about some social guarantees, but also about full employment, some equality, and also about individual rights of men and women. So it was my brief talk on women in public administration and public policy in modern Russia. I will be glad to answer your questions. Feel free to ask them. But I think that maybe it's better to take floor by Olga Supova, because she has a case study about women in police of the Russian Federation. Like they have something in common with the civil servants, but still they have some special features. And also the interesting case of Olga is because her field work was not in Moscow, not in the federal government structures like we did that in the first, but in the region. And that's all for now. Thank you for your attention. And one more time, I will be glad to answer your questions. And now the turn of Olga. That's it.
Thank you. I suggest everyone who is here to turn on your mic and upload to Valeriya for the lecture. You can do that.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.